Hi everybody, welcome to Suzi's Kitchen. This is going to be my first cooking video with you and I'm excited. But mostly I want to say thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming into my old kitchen and just cooking with me, because I'm just like you. I'm a home cook, love my family, love my friends, and one of the greatest joys I have in life are cooking for them, pleasing them. I can't think of a better thing that I would love to do than have you with me through all my mistakes, and I'm going to make them. But today I'm going to try a new recipe, which is not something that I probably should or would ever do for a first time video with you. But I figured, you know what? I am who I am. And if you're going to join me, and if you're going to enjoy it, then I need to be real. So here I am, really Suzi. And thanks. Let's have some fun. Okay, so today the recipe I'm making is an Amish meatloaf. And I've saved a little bit of time, but not all of it, because I want us to enjoy it together. And put my mix of my meats in my mixer. So, what I have in my mixer is 1.5 pounds of ground beef and just over 1/4 pound of plain ground pork. And so to that, we have some things we're going to add. We're going to add a cup of oats. They can be quick cooking oats, or they can be regular whole oats. But what I'm going to do is, the recipe also calls for a cup of milk or water, but I like milk. And I'm just going to add some of that to my oats while we talk. Almost all of it goes in there. So, meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and add some spices while those soak. So, I normally would measure, but we're not going to measure, because you can measure according to your tastes, okay? So I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of garlic powder and about a tablespoon of onion powder. Be generous. You don't have to spare spice unless you don't like spice, but then you wouldn't be using spice, right? So even though the recipe doesn't call for it, and you're going to hear me claim many times, when you make a recipe of someone else's for the first time, make it their way. And I'm going to deviate from that, because this is our dinner tonight, and I want Randy to be happy when he sits down to the table. And Randy's my husband. You'll see him in videos coming up one day, I'm sure. So I'm going to add some ranch powdered seasoning. That's all that is. You can buy it in bulk in your grocery. And I'm going to add just about 2 tablespoons, because it has salt in it. And we want to control our salt. But I am going to add kosher salt. So it's probably about that meat, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of kosher salt. Also calls for ground pepper, so let's add some ground pepper. Done. Now, it also calls for either dry mustard, or you can use a wet mustard. I'm going to use a wet mustard, and it calls for about 2 1/4 teaspoons. I'm going to use Dijon mustard. And I'm just going to add it right into the meat, like that. Okay, I've let the oats soak for a little bit, so I'm going to take the rest of my milk that I didn't add to the oats, and the oats. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to pour them right in. I'll just use that to rinse out that rest of that little cup. I'll sit these here in the sink. So we have those in. Now it calls for an egg. Usually, always, we'll call an egg. It's a binder for the meatloaf. So we have our egg. Let me just throw this away. I try to keep everything as close as possible, so that I can keep you guys as close as possible without stopping the video. So now we have all of our seasonings in. And we have our egg, and we have our meat, and we have our spices. And it also calls for a half a cup of ketchup. So I am not a big ketchup fan, but I do use it. So we're going to come over here to that mustard. We're going to add some ketchup. There's our ketchup. Not a very nice sound, I admit, but it is what it is. Okay? So we've got all the ingredients in there. We're going to go ahead and I'm just going to mix this up with my beater. And I have it in a stand mixer. You can just do it by hand at home. You can do it with any kind of mixer you want. I'm using my dough hook. So we're just going to let that mix for a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and get my pan ready and get my oven preheated to 375. And after I'm done, we'll be back together. Hold on. Okay, we're back. I've got the meatloaf all mixed, and I have got to do a little bit of parsley at the last minute because I want to just mix up in. So I'm just going to rip off some parsley here out of my cup. And we're just going to chop it up because we want it to be nice and fresh. This adds a little color, but it also adds just a nice flavor. So we're going to just chop some up. I like it fairly fine. I don't like the big stems, so I just will pull those off and put those in my garbage bin. So bear with me. I hope you've had a good day today. Ours is about at an end as far as work day goes. I made some fun summer slaw out of my cookbook earlier today to go with this meatloaf. It's always a great side dish. And it's spring, and here in Michigan it hasn't felt very spring-like. So we're trying to fix that from the inside out. So a nice Amish meatloaf, some summer slaw, which has pasta in it, and we should be good to go. Okay, I've got that pretty well mixed. Good deal. So now what I'm going to do, just going to scrape this up into my gloves because I don't want to get all green-handed here. Scrape it up, bring it over to our mixer, dump it in, get another little bit. There's my back. Sorry to have my backside to you, but I can't have a camera crew like some do. In fact, I don't even have a crew. Alright, so what I'm going to do is take my gloves off. I'm just going to move things over for us because I'm going to be bringing the meatloaf over here and putting it onto a sheet pan. Okay, let me just brush off some of my mess. I know you guys don't make a mess. I am a messy cook. Okay, so we'll lift up our mixer stand. We're going to use our spatula to get this off there. Every little bit. At the price of meat, we want it all. Okay, so here we have our meatloaf. This is the coolest thing. These are called spurtles, and I have many of them. If you don't have any, please get them. They're such a handy piece of work in the kitchen. I'm going to put my gloves back on so I don't have to get ground meat all over me. I'm just going to kind of stir in that parsley just a little bit. We don't need to kill the meatloaf. The nice thing about a meatloaf is it's forgiving, but you don't want to overmix it. So while I use the dough hook, I also want to make sure that it's incorporated from the bottom. There we go. No overmix. Well, good. We're just going to put this in the sink. Now, I'm not spraying my dish or anything else. I am just taking this out of here. Let this bowl roll. There we go. Okay. Good size meatloaf. I admit. Probably larger than I needed it. Put that over there. Now, I'm going to slide this over by us. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a loaf. And it's not hard to make a loaf. Just do a football shape, do a square shape. You can do whatever you like. Now, I like to kind of make a large loaf. Now this has a roasting pan rack in it, just to keep the meatloaf out of its own grease a little bit. Okay, so I think we're pretty well shaped up. And in the middle, I put just a little divot so that it cooks evenly. Okay, there we go. So I think we'll be good. All that, let me take this to the kitchen sink. Now, I have my meatloaf ready, okay? And I have my oven preheated to 375. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the oven. I'm going to bake it. And when it's done, I'll show you what it looks like. If I don't do that, maybe the better thing I'll do is wait till we're ready to serve dinner. I'll put it on a plate, let you see what it looks like, and I'll taste it with you. Sound good? Okay, thanks for coming to Suzi's Kitchen. I'm so excited this is my first video, but I'm more excited that you guys will be kind and understanding, and that you'll remember that we are so blessed, and we have a God who loves us so deeply. He loves you in your kitchen. He loves you in your home. He just simply loves us. So let's just hang out together, and I'll be back, okay? Be patient. Hey, my sweet friends, I'm back. And what is so awesome is this meatloaf is done and dinner is ready. We are excited to try it. I did take a little cook's corner, is what I love to call it, and it's pretty awesome. So I'll share the recipe soon. You can take what you can off the video. It's pretty accurate. And again, I'm just glad you joined me in my kitchen. Very thankful. I've already served up the summer slaw. I'll let you see. Nice plate. Pretty slaw. Delicious meatloaf. Good friends. Thanks for being in my kitchen. I'll see you soon, and I appreciate you.